All right, good evening, everybody. I want to go ahead and get started. It's about 7:05 here. I want to be respectful of everybody's time. First, let me, thank you for joining us tonight. This is our first virtual meeting for Sabre Nation Athletics. There's been a lot going on in the news and with sports and CMS and the state. So we're happy to be here today and have an opportunity to kind of let you know what's going on, how we're moving forward in CMS, and then what sports will be able to play, when they'll be able to play. And we'll also be able here tonight to share with you a complete list of all of our coaches and the sports calendar. So just keep in mind throughout the meeting tonight, if you have a sport-specific question, such as when are tryout dates of a specific sport or how to turn in paperwork for a specific sport, I do ask that you reach out to the head coach of that sport directly. And here shortly, I'll have on the screen all of our head coaches' email addresses, so you can feel free to email them and contact them whenever needed to get more information about that sport. I do also want to let you know that tonight's meeting is going to be recorded, so we'll post the recording. We'll also post this slide deck that I'll present tonight, as well as the slide deck from the Booster Club that they will present, so you can, at any time, you'll be able to go back onto our website, which is listed below, the cmsathleticzone.com /SouthMech, and you'll be able to find this recording in both slideshows that you'll see tonight. Okay, so we will get started. I still see a few people still coming in, but like I said, this is recorded, so people will have an opportunity to go back and see anything they missed. All right, so the first thing I want to do is this is very important to me that, we have our coaches on here. We have some, our parents, our booster club, and I think there's also some players here too. So just something that we kind of go by here is, coming together is the beginning. This is truly the beginning of a process, whether you've been at South or been involved in athletics for is your first year or a number of years. We're truly coming together here in this, COVID-19 era. So keeping together is progress, and then working together is success. So that's what we're hoping to do tonight, is kind of follow, getting, those three things of, coming together, which we're here tonight, and then kind of sticking together throughout this process and throughout this year. That's progress, and working together along the way to truly make this a successful year and impactful event. This is our mission statement, here for Sabre Nation Athletics, says we will work tirelessly every day to create a transformational experience for our athletes, coaches, faculty, and community. So that includes everybody that's involved, that can, touch our campus, that comes to campus, that watches an event, that brings their child, our athletes, our coaches, that encompasses everybody. And we're trying to do our best given the circumstances that we have. And that's one of the reasons we're having this meeting tonight, is so everyone can be aware of what we can do and when we plan on doing certain things. And then more importantly, how to get involved and contribute to that experience as a parent and as a community member. Okay. Some of the requirements, and this is for parents. I know that our coaches have pushed this out numerous times. I have kind of talked about this numerous times through social media, through our Sabre University, our advisory block to all of our students. But these are extremely important to understand as far as requirements go. You have to complete a ticket to play, and you have to do that before you can do participate in any type of off-season workout, skill development, or tryouts. You have to have a current physical, and we'll go over what a current physical or valid physical means here shortly. Promoted to the next grade, and then a 2.0 GPA, and pass 75% of your course load for sports starting or playing after January 1 of 2021. So all of our sports, and we'll get into the calendar a little bit, but all of our sports will be completed after the January 1, 2021 date. I do know that cross country, volleyball, swimming, and basketball will all start before that, but they all will finish after that. So all of our students are impacted by this. So their fall semester grades, please parents, you know, follow your kids and kind of get them to make sure that they're on top of their academics, because if they do have an opportunity or hope to be a part of Sabre Nation and play on an athletic team, that 2.0 GPA and 75% pass rate of their course load will be in effect after January 1. So it's based off your first semester grades. So that's very important that our parents know that and our student athletes know that, so we can stay on top of that. We don't want to lose anyone for any academic eligibility issues. One other thing that we have here is course load. I talked about course load above this, but course load means you have to have 3 courses on your schedule every single day. That is a minimum of 3. Typical is 4 for most of our students. We're going to have 4 courses every day, so it's not an issue, but some of our seniors have early release built into their schedule, or some CPCC classes, and those are fine, but in order to play athletics, you must have at least 3 courses on your schedule every single day. A CPCC course does count as one of those courses. So if you're taking 2 at CPCC, then that's 2 courses for you. If you just have early dismissal and you're not enrolled in CPCC, then you don't have a course. So you only have those 3 courses. If you have 3 courses, you must pass all 3 courses. Your course, that 75% is based off of 4 periods a day. So if you're only in school for 3 periods a day, you need to pass all 3 of those courses to be eligible. And again, all of our sports will either conclude or start after January due to the condensed schedule. So every athlete will be affected by this and be held to this standard of the 2.0, the 75% if you're taking 4 courses. And then if you have at least 3 courses on your schedule, you need to pass all 3 of those classes. So that's very important to know moving forward and preparing yourself for athletics coming up not only this semester, but the semester to come. And I know that there might be some questions about this at the end of the presentation. We will have an opportunity for parents to ask questions. I will ask that you put them in the chat box. We have over 150 people currently on this call, so we don't need people kind of stepping on each other waiting to speak. So if you put a question in the chat box when the presentation is over, I will go through all of the questions on the chat box. So if they're directed to me, I will answer them. If they're directed towards the Booster Club, I will give a Booster Club board member an opportunity to speak and answer those questions as they come up. All right, so I did talk about Ticket to Play. We do not accept hard copies to be turned in outside of a physical. Okay, so everything is electronic, whether it's an email scan to the coach or it's uploaded during the Ticket to Play process. And here's our website again, just in case you missed it, on where you can find the Ticket to Play. You'll also be able to find all of our coaches' contact information there, as well as some other information regarding our Booster Club too. So whenever in doubt, if you ever have a question, I would start at this website, and then you can pretty much get in contact with anybody that you need to answer any questions you may have. Going to the physicals, I know our coaches have been communicating this hopefully weekly, every couple of weeks. I send them a report every so often, and I know they kind of reach back out to their family. So the current physical, what is a valid physical for 2020-2021 school year? Due to COVID, they have changed the rules a little bit and added a grace period. So if you have a physical dated, I'll start from the top. If it's prior to March 1st, 2019, you will need to get a new physical. It'll need to be, signed by a doctor, physician's assistant, or nurse practitioner. Okay, so that March 1st, 2019 is the key date. If your physical is dated after March 1st, 2019, then you are good to go as long as we have a copy of it on campus. The 1 year normal term is normally 395 days to be valid, but due to COVID, the state has extended that. So any physical dated after March 1st, 2019 will be valid for the entire 2020-2021 academic year. If you have a physical after May 2nd, 2020, then you fall into the valid for 395 days, which would mean your physical would be valid for the entire academic year anyway. So that March 1st, 2019 is the key date. So if it's after that, you do have a valid physical. You just need to make sure we have a copy of it on campus before you'll be able to participate in any type of off-season workouts, conditioning, skill development, or try out for any particular sport. So those things, we cannot let you do anything without that ticket to play completion and a valid physical on campus. Okay, so here is, I think, what a lot of people have been waiting for. This information has been out for a little bit. I know we've pushed it out a couple times, but here is the start dates. Okay, first official practice dates, the first official date for a competition. Now it says, for volleyball cross country, our first competition date is November 16th. That may or may not be the first date that we have a scheduled game or match or meet, but that is the first date that the state will allow us to schedule a game, match, or meet. And keep in mind that November 4th, the first practice date that you see here on your screen, that is the date for tryouts, okay? So any type of off-season work, conditioning, skill development, those are all optional, voluntary, and they will not have an impact on you making or not making the team, because those are truly optional days for you to come out. And due to COVID and some of the restrictions that we currently have, we are limited on creating pods of students that, so there is a maximum number that we can have on campus at any given time. So I do want to make sure that our parents know that those are truly optional, and they will not have an impact on you making or not making a particular team due to the optional workouts that may be available. Like I said, those numbers will be extremely limited for off-season work, just due to kind of the restrictions that we have to go by currently. So again, here's the dates. Cross country, so cross country, volleyball, swimming, they will all start, and their first competition date will be before January. Basketball starts, the first day is December 7th, so that will be the tryout date for basketball. That's men's and women's basketball. But if you notice, their first game won't be until January. So looking at this schedule, I do want to go back to the academic eligibility portion, and you can see the final contest date. That is the final contest date for regular season. So there is a modified playoff that will happen after each one of those dates. But if you look at the final contest date, those all happen and take place after January 1st, 2021. So all of our students will be impacted by those academic requirements with the GPA, the course load, and the pass count. So extremely important that you pay attention to that, and our students are on top of their grades and their academics moving forward. As promised on your screen, you will see our coaches. These are all of our sports. They are listed as, fall sport, winter sport, spring sport, because those are our traditional seasons. And I know with the condensed schedule, and we can always go back to that schedule, you'll be able to find it online also. So they might not fall in this order, but if you are interested, your son or child, they're interested in football, please reach out to our head coach, Joe Evans. His email address is there. If you ever need to go back to this slide, like I said, it will be posted, but on our athletic website, there is a tab at the top that says coaches list, and this is directly where I pulled that information from. So anytime you go to our website and you go to coaches list, this is the information you'll see. So you'll always have access to our coaches. So reach out to them directly with sports-specific questions. I know that they are, eager and want to grow their programs and make sure that everyone has an opportunity to participate, in their sport. Some sports do have limited rosters, so there are cuts. This is more so for my freshman parents on here. There will be some teams that have cuts, so that the standard that you'll have to meet, that's between the coach and what they're looking for. But also there's some sports on here that typically may not have cut in the past. So just for an example, cross country, swimming. Those two sports will have a limited number of athletes that can participate in a meet, cross-country meet or swim meet. So those rosters are going to be significantly less than what they have been in the past. So I need to make sure that all parents and students know that those rosters will be limited, because there is a limited number of students that can participate in a meet for those sports. And in the past, sometimes those sports may have been a few cuts, may not have been a few cuts, but typically we've had rosters of about 100 in each of those sports. And this year, those will be significantly reduced because of the reduced amount of participants in a meet. So that's something that the state has sent out. So it depends on how many people are going to be there and going that way. Okay, so just be aware of that. So some sports, again, that typically may not have been cut sports will be cut sports this year, just due to the fact that they will have limited roster space to bring to a meet or match. Like I said, if you have any questions about what that looks like for a particular team, and if that team does plan on holding tryouts, please reach directly out to the head coach of that sport. Okay, something that, when you fill out the ticket to play, there's language in there that kind of reminds you of this. I do want to let you know the expectations for all of our athletes. So all students that are members of an athletic team are expected to adhere to the student code of conduct on and off campus. I know that we're in a remote fashion, so we're not necessarily on campus, but the hope is that we all do return to campus one day this year. And, so our code of conduct on and off campus is extremely important. You're representing South Meck, Sabre Nation. You're representing your team, your coach, your community at all times. So we do expect you to adhere to those things while you're here on campus as well as off. Incidents that take place off campus may carry the same consequences as if they happened on campus, to include the removal from the club or athletic team. Okay, so just keep that in mind. We definitely want to make sure that we're good stewards in our community, and that we know that we're representing South Meck at all times. So we do want to make sure that we are aware of that. And I want to let you know that students will be held accountable for their actions off campus if they are truly on a South Mecklenburg athletic team. Now I think Mr. Rothacker, you're up with our Booster Club announcement. I will take you off of mute, and I will stop sharing my screen so you can take over. And like I said, parents, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. Once the Booster Club has done their presentation, I'll go back through the chat and answer any questions that you have.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Hey, Jose, I think I still can't share my screen. I don't know if that's something for host disabled participant screen share. If that's Mr. Starnes or you.
Give me 1 second. I'll get it. I'll get you. You'll be able to in a second. So if you just want to kind of talk about the Booster Club,
yeah, sure.
Introduce the people that are here tonight, and then we can pull up the screen.
Yeah, so I'm one of the members of the South Meck Boosters, which is Sports Boosters, which is kind of our rebranded, renamed Booster Club, which we've had for a long time. Sports, the school ended abruptly in the spring, but a number of us parents, kept working on preparing for the new school year and been meeting over the summer and into this fall. And so we wanted to give you a presentation of some of the things we're working on and ask you to join. Basically, the Boosters, we're the nonprofit volunteer organization that helps Jose and all the coaches and the sports teams, and it's a great way as a parent to get involved and help our teams. And so my name is Rick, and I'll let the rest of the group here. Maybe Chris, if you want to go, and I'll see who else is here and introduce yourself.
Rick, if you just want to introduce them, because everyone is on mute,
got it.
And you should have access to share your screen now.
Okay. If you might want to there are a couple of them going to talk. So if you want to unmute them at some point, Jose.
Okay.
First, we've got Chris Ann. She's the co-president with me. Chris Ann Carlstone. Seth Fight is the membership chair. Chris Brown is our treasurer. And Randy Peterson is on here as well, who's our vice president. And as we go on through the presentation, a number of us will talk. Hold on one second here. And I'll share my screen. Hopefully everyone can see this. Great. All right. Now, let's see if I can move mine. All right. So gave you the quick overview there of the Booster Club. Here's our leadership group here again. I think I introduced everybody. And just a quick summary. So we're just kind of the renamed, rebranded Booster Club. Our mission is to support the coaches.
I'm going to talk in a second.
Athletes, and the administration. Our goal is to be very collaborative, working with the coaches and the parents and the teams. And we're an interim leadership. Eventually there'll be an election. Is sort of the normal way the Booster Club is supposed to work. And help wanted. We're looking for help. Jose, if you can do, Chris Ann was going to talk here for a minute. If you can unmute her, and then Chris will be talking shortly if you wanted to try to unmute them.
I am. You unmuted me, and
Go
then I
ahead.
muted myself to have proper Zoom etiquette. I didn't realize it's going to be a problem. Anyway, nice to meet you. I'm Chris Ann. As Rick said, I'm the co-president, and we did decide to kind of rebrand the name, primarily just as an opportunity to be more inclusive of all the sports that we have, both club and CMS sanctioned teams, and it gives us an opportunity just to set new guidelines into place that we would like to do to be more transparent for the athletic community and try to be more sustainable to support our coaches.
Exactly. Thanks, Chris Ann. I'll go over some of the main tasks here, and we'll be able to take more questions as we go on for sure. Just to give you a sense of what the Booster Club does, and this is really not a lot different from the past, but we're really trying to kind of streamline and be as transparent as possible on the things that we're doing. First, a big thing we do is fundraise, really the big things that cover multiple teams. So field maintenance, uniforms, other key things that aren't covered by CMS or the teams themselves. And Jose, I think if you've been to a Booster Club meeting before, CMS doesn't give the school a lot of money for athletics. It's like $6,000 or something like that. And it costs a lot more than that to run a big program. So we're there to try to raise money to help Jose and really the teams operate, especially in these things like the field maintenance that cover multiple teams. The next thing is operating concession stands. That's something where all the teams and parents certainly help. We try to help coordinate getting the concessions to sell and things like that, and the Survey Monkey and things like that. We've been busy selling South Mech gear to boost team spirit and to get a little bit of revenue. We have an online store, which I'll show the link later, that Jose has set up. It's got a lot of great gear, probably better gear than in the past, Nike, all kinds of different things like that. So if you're looking for good South Mech sweatshirts and shirts and things, you're there. Go back here. Sorry about that. And we also have been doing in-person sales, and we'll talk about that. We've had we're selling Saber Strong shirts and signs and gaiters. We have scholarships, and we hope to do scholarships again this year. We had to delay it last year. Eventually, we hope to sell the sports passes that everyone's familiar with. And the other goal is just to really help the AD, help the school, and promote South Mech sports. Now I'm going to turn it over to Chris Brown, who we've been very lucky to add to the team over the summer and spring, who's doing really the toughest task of being the treasurer. So I'll let him talk a little bit about where we are financially and some of the challenges that we're working on.
Yeah, thanks, Rick and everybody. My name's Chris Brown. I'm a senior soccer player, Owen. I've had 2 graduate from South Mech, so I've been involved with South Mech sports for probably 5-6 years now. Anyways, I've helped in the soccer team before, stepped in to help with the sports boosters, And in a treasurer role, really, I think what we'd like to do as a team, and we've talked about this as the interim team running the boosters, is really just be open, transparent, and collaborative. That's really our main goal. How the club was run in the past is in the past, and we're going to kind of look to the future. This is a club that belongs to the membership, the parents, the athletes, and the school. So we're going to treat it that way. Secondly, we're going to do our best to improve the processes. Some of the things we did in the past were well done, and we're going to do our best to make them even better. For example, we're starting to do a lot of electronic transactions. So when teams look for reimbursements, we're going to try to do a lot of things electronically. Keeps a paper trail and makes the money move faster to get people reimbursed for expenses. To just tell you for a quick second how the Booster Club's structured is we have a main bank account that holds all the money. That includes team funds. Team funds are funds that the teams have raised for themselves that they control, they use for their purposes. And then we also, within that account, we also have Booster Club money, which are things that we've raised from fundraisers, from things in the historically like the Wells Fargo tournament, et cetera. And that booster money we share with the athletic director, Mr. Garcia, and he makes the decisions on how to allocate those to benefit all the teams in South Mex sports. So in essence, we're the big bank with multiple sub-accounts underneath, and we'll try to make that run as smooth as possible. Where does the club stand? You know, I would describe it like this. On October 6th, as Rick will mention later, we'll have our first official Booster Club meeting. But the athletic Booster Club balance right now is a little less than half of what historically has been. Clearly, with all the COVID, with all the hiccups in sports and events, it's been a challenging time. So we're not completely broke, but we're clearly focused on raising money right now. So all the things we talk about tonight are very important for us to kind of get that balance back up to where we can help athletic teams as much as possible and promote South Mac and their sports. I look forward to meeting everybody. That's really all I had. And I can be reached directly. We'll talk, I think Rick will talk about this, but we have two main email accounts right now. One is info@smsportsboosters.com. And that's for all of us. That's kind of the general booster account. And then for myself in the treasurer role, treasurer@smsportsboosters.com. It'll be on this and it'll be on, I think, the website. Thank you all for your time tonight, and I look forward to meeting everyone.
Thanks, Chris. That was great. I really appreciate that update. Just touching on a little bit of what Chris said, just kind of the spending philosophy, which I think might be a little different than the way it was done in the past, but really we want the AD to kind of be guiding how things are spent, where in the past maybe you'd come to the Booster Club and like Chris said, there's not a ton of money to go around anyway, but really want the AD kind of influencing how money is spent. And the teams will keep raising money for their individual needs and really want the Booster Club itself, that it's spending to be minimal, that just the stuff we need for concessions, fundraising, things like that. So that's one of the big changes we hope to make. Now, speaking of fundraising, we have a number of things underway. We have the t-shirt, sign, and gator sale, which hopefully people saw us out at the book giveaway. And it's been off to a great start. We're doing some online sales. We're going to be doing some deliveries very soon. And that's been really, really fun to work on. We have the online school store, which is up and running thanks to Jose, and a lot of good gear there. So definitely suggest you go there. We'll tell you a little bit about a Chipotle fundraiser that we're doing later this month. We're going to talk to you a little bit about the membership campaign, which is a way for us to get members and volunteers, but also to raise some money for the Booster Club and sports teams. We're looking to do more corporate sponsors. We did pretty good on this last year. Hopefully we could do even better this year. We're trying to revive the barbecue that we've traditionally done in the past in the fall. And we are a nonprofit, so it's a good place to do donations if you have a corporate giving campaign or year-end giving you're planning on doing. It is something you can put down as being given to a nonprofit. Here's a little bit look at some of the things we're selling. We're selling our Saber Strong shirts that Chris was showing off for $15. We have our senior signs, which have been popular, and our gators for $15. We've got Zelle, Cash App, and we'll deliver to you. Potentially we'll do more in-person sales later, but we're here to serve you and sell you some gear. And And then we have our Chipotle fundraiser, which is at the Chipotle down in Pineville Matthews Road, just south of the school, December 29th from 4 to 8. 33% of the sales, if we get enough people out there, goes to the Booster Club. So that'll be kind of a neat way to see how that goes. And you can either do it through your app or bring in a flyer, which you can get website, which I'll talk about later. So if you want to bring that along. And then next, I'm going to turn it over to Seth. If you can get, make sure Seth is unmuted, Jose. He'll talk a little bit about how ticketing works, which we know is on kind of hold right now, and then how the membership drive will work. So Seth, take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Rick. So last year we piloted for the first time the GoFan app that allowed digital access. We had a couple hiccups early on, but ultimately it worked very well for access, and we sold over 200 tickets that way. It's a great way to get money in the coffers on the front end of the season, and really worked well for us last year with the uncertainty around when sports competition starts and the fans allowed, that kind of thing. We're not able to start that. That's been one of our main fundraiser sources, but we're hopeful to do something with this later in the year. We're going to just have to see how competition unfolds and how fan access works, and how we'll ultimately be able to sell these all sports passes. And for those of you unfamiliar with it, it was basically you can go to all non-playoff events at the school. So, and if you have a kid that plays multiple sports, it's a no-brainer. If you were in a sport that had multiple games like basketball, it was another no-brainer. But more to come on that. We're hopeful that we'll be able to sell those later in the year. We are pushing our membership. So we go to the next slide, Rick. The membership, historically, we bundled it with the sports pass. So it was not as much of a separate transaction per se. But this year, we definitely need and want your support. We have over 150 people on this call today. We'd love every single one of you to join as members. Last year, it was $70 for a family. This year, we reduced that to $50. If you join, you will also get the eventual, if we're able to offer the sports pass, you'll get a similar discount that you got last year on that. There's a few other benefits highlighted in there, in addition to just coming to our meetings and voting on our officers. We'll also make sure we do our scholarships next year. Assuming we get our membership up and our corporate sponsors up, we'll be able to offer those scholarships. So your student athletes will be eligible for that, and they'll also offer a discount in the team store there. So it's our hope that every family member joins the Sports Boosters. Certainly that have student athletes, but even just Sabre fans and people that are in the local community, we definitely want and need your membership, and greatly appreciate that. If you need and qualify for a hardship fee waiver, we're happy to accommodate that as well. We really want membership more than anything, but we certainly need the dollars that'll help support Jose and all of our great coaches out there. Even with all the uncertainty around sports, there's a lot of maintenance and expenses that we're going to be incurring as a school, and the money that we get from the county just doesn't cut it. And ticket sales being uncertain, memberships are going to be one of our main revenue sources. So we really appreciate all of you considering joining. Thanks, Rick.
That was great. That was a very good overview of what we're hoping to do. Now a little bit of just what's next. So first, we hope you become a Sports Boosters member. You can do that online, which you'll see there's a link that we've been sending out, and you can also get through our website. And so that you go through GoPass to do that. We'll have our first meeting October 6th, Tuesday. It'll be another Zoom, 6 p.m. And this will be, if you've been to a meeting before, same kind of thing, get some reports from the coaches, reports from the officers, and really just try to get going for the school year. Help wanted. If you're interested in helping out, it's great to help your team, but the Booster Club is a great way if you're a parent to volunteer and help out, where we would like help sponsorships, barbecue, eventually hopefully we have concessions, and there's probably great ideas that we certainly haven't thought of yet. So if you've got great ideas or have other ideas of work you can do, you can be very involved or even just a little bit involved. So we'd really love any help. And then once we kind of get things up and running and have members, we'll do an election for the slate of officers and hopefully kind of keep that process going, which will help with volunteers going forward. And then finally, here's our contact information, which Chris described. We've got our info at smsportsboosters.com email. Some people have already been using that for the t-shirt sale. You can get Chris at treasurer@smssportsboosters.com. Our website is off the website that Jose's been talking about. You go to South Meck High School, click athletics, you'll see a booster club tab, and we're trying to put a lot of our schedules and things up there. So definitely click there, and you'll see all the contact information and everything else there as well. So thanks a lot for everybody coming on today, and I'll turn it back over to Jose for questions.
All right. I know there was some questions about the Booster Club membership, and I do appreciate that. I think all of our athletes and our coaches will appreciate that too. You know, our goal is, you know, if you have a child that is a member of one of our athletic teams, that your family is a member of our Booster Club. Like I said, all of those funds kind of go back to the individual teams in some way or another. You know, everybody needs, you know, field maintenance or something in the gym. Last year we were able to kind of add some new things to the gym. Our gym floor was redone. We got a brand new scorers table. We got brand new sideline chairs. We have some carpet runners in there now too, to go into the chair. So, you know, all of the money that we can raise does go back into our school and helps our athletes and coaches in some way. So please, you know, take that into consideration, not only to be a member, but to also be a part of what we're doing here at South Meck, to kind of create that experience for everyone else and allow us the opportunity to make this the best place for students and parents and the community to come out to and support what we're doing. I do want to I'll go through the chat feature here. So if you do have a question that you didn't ask or you want to ask, go ahead and type it in the chat feature. Like I said, I will go through and read each question and then give you the best answer that I can if it's sports related, or I'll bounce it back over to Rick if it's a Booster Club question. Question was about confirming physical dates if they were submitted last year. So our coaches have last year's rosters that include physical dates, so they should be able to kind of cross-check that. I do know most of our coaches have their own checklist put in place, and they've been reaching out to families if any paperwork is missing. So that is how we're handling the physicals, and they're ones on file. So if you were a member of the team last year or a member of any team at South Meck last year and your physical was dated after March 1st, 2019, then you will be good to go. If there's a hiccup, we'll find it and we'll let you know. But other than that, like I said, the coaches know, they have the rosters, they have the physical dates, they have the ticket to play reports, and I've asked them to only check student athletes that have completed the ticket to play process. Those are the only names I ever send them. So if you have not done ticket to play, they will not know that you are interested in playing their sport. So please complete the ticket to play process and reach out to the individual coach that you may be interested in communicating with and talking to. Next question we have here is cross country and swim and dive seasons overlap. Can student athletes participate in both sports? So there is a lot of overlap in this condensed season. So it's not just cross country and swim and dive. So the state and CMS, so they're both aligned, which is great for us. So we know that we're all playing by the same set of parameters here. So a student athlete can participate in two sports during a given season, okay? But that will take a lot of dedication and communication on the athlete's part, the parent's part, and the coach's part to make that work, okay? So it's not you have to choose one or the other. If there is overlap, and there's quite a bit of overlap, there is nothing wrong with a student athlete participating in two sports at once. Going back to off-season conditioning, I do want to make this clear. If you are doing off-season work, you can only do off-season work in one sport, okay? So, like, for instance, right now, volleyball and cross-country, starting on September 14th, can do off-season workouts and be placed in pods and limitations and all that. But a student athlete cannot participate in volleyball and in cross country for off-season work. Come November 4th, when volleyball has officially started and cross country has officially started, a student athlete could possibly play volleyball and cross country at the same time if they were able to make that work between themselves, transportation to and from practices and matches, and if the coach and communication with the coaches to kind of see what would be best for that student athlete to be successful in both, so that if they choose to go that route. So off-season work can only be one sport. Once the seasons start, the official start date of a season, and there is overlap, student athletes are permitted to participate in more than one sport per season. So if you saw on a screen there's kind of limitations. So there's you can have two baseball games and a track event in the same week. So if you're a student athlete, you can play 2 baseball games and participate in the track event. You're not limited to just 2 events for the week. So it's the events per sport. So I hope I answered that question. I think I gave you a little bit more in-depth answer, but that's the reality. So the state says yes, CMS says yes for the season, not for off-season. So anything that's voluntary or optional, you can only do one at a time. You can't go back and forth. But once the official start date has happened and there's tryouts, and if you make 2 teams, whether there's overlap or there's simultaneous, you will be able to participate in both. But I do warn you that it is condensed. Play dates will overlap as well. So I will please be aware of that when you're considering playing 2 sports with overlap, that you communicate with everyone that's involved. So everyone's on the same page, so we can all be successful. Kids that normally interested play multiple sports with seasons overlapping, do they need to pick one? I think we just kind of talked about that one. So again, official season, they can play both. Off-season voluntary workouts, they can only do one at a time. Do you have a plan for sharing the field, thinking football, men's and women's soccer, etc.? Not your call, spring sports. So there is a plan. The seasons are they're condensed, but they're separated enough that there's not a whole lot of overlap for field use as far as games are concerned. At South Meck, we are fortunate. We do have lots of green space. So for our outdoor sports, to kind of fit practice and games in, we will have a rotation and a schedule. Teams that are in season will always take precedent for field uses over teams that are out of season doing any type of voluntary, workouts or conditioning like that. Spring sports getting shorted, that is completely a, North Carolina High School Athletic Association call. That's not a CMS rule. It's not a South Meck rule. It's nothing that was in any of our control. It was the opportunity to create sports seasons that will allow all athletes to play and get exposure in some form or fashion. So, yes, they were shorted and condensed, but all seasons were condensed to kind of ensure that everyone had a chance to play. But again, that was a North Carolina Athletic Association rule that we'll go by as a state, from the state. Here's a question about joining and paying for membership. I believe one of our booster board members just put the link in the chat feature. So if you want to go to the chat feature, you can click the link and you can do that tonight. That would be awesome. But it'll also be posted on our website moving forward and pushed out on our social media platforms that you saw there at the beginning of the presentation. Can returning players help with fundraising events like Chipotle or barbecue? So that we want everybody to help. We want family members, we want former players, current players, aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, neighbors, anybody that we can recruit together to help us in this effort, for fundraising opportunities. We want to make sure we include all of those people. So we're definitely not limited. The Chipotle thing is truly, kind of one of those South Meck nights. So anybody can go. We want everyone to bring a flyer or, order on the app or show that they're representing South Mech on that night. And we'll make a big push on social media and through our email system on Sunday nights. I'll ask Mr. Starnes to kind of include that the Sunday before the 29th, so everyone is aware of the location, the time, and what's needed, so we can get credit for that. As far as the barbecue is concerned, that's still a work in progress about a date to do it and any type of limitations on who we may and may not be able to have on campus. But the idea is that anyone and everyone that we can get to help us facilitate that event in any event, we're welcoming that with open arms. So yes to that question about alumni helping out. Can alumni become booster members for a particular sport? So our booster club, members of our booster club is for all of athletics. It's an athletic sports boosters. So membership goes to that. Alumni are always more than welcome to help out individual sports so they see fit. But membership is truly you're becoming a member of the South Mech Sports Boosters that goes to help and facilitate and support all of our athletic programs across campus. What sports are said to return? I've been told a lot of different things. Can you clear that up? So all of the sports are set to return. On a previous slide, they were here, and I will pull that back up so we can see it. So there it is. All of the sports are slated to return with the exception of indoor track. That was a rule that came down from, like I said, the North Carolina High School Athletic Association. So indoor track is the only sport that will not be returning for this academic school year. Here are the dates that each sport will start. Currently in CMS, cross country and volleyball are the only two sports permitted to have off-season workouts, and those will start Monday, September 14th. I know that volleyball will be going on Mondays and Wednesdays, and cross country will be going on Tuesdays and Thursdays. If you have any questions about that or times or what's needed, please reach out directly to those coaches. But here is a list of all the sports that will be returning and when they will be returning. So have you turned on the ability to edit ticket to play? At South Mech, we do not control the ticket to play process. That is a third party that's contracted through CMS because all schools use the ticket to play process. So once you complete a ticket to play, they do not give you the option to kind of go back in and resubmit paperwork. So if that is the case, I do ask that you submit any missing paperwork directly to your coach. They will file your paperwork because they need to track what you have turned in. And then that paperwork will come to me, and I will check off on it to make sure everything is correct. But if you were not able to upload a particular form, such as your proofs of residency during the ticket to play process, please, if they were on your computer, just kind of email them over to the head coach so they can mark down that paperwork was turned in, and then they will get those papers to me electronically or hard copy moving forward. I know we're staying away from the hard copy stuff, but there are, some circumstances that will require me to take those hard copies. So if something didn't upload correctly, please just make sure that your head coach has it, and they will bring it to me, and we'll take care of the paperwork issue. A link to ticket to play. If someone wants to type in the CMS Athletic Zone South Mech in the chat, that would be great. If not, I'll put it back in here when I get done answering the questions. But it is on the slide. It's cmsathleticzone.com/South Mech. And when you go to that site, you'll scroll down a little bit. There'll be a blue banner. It'll say ticket to play. And that's where you'll go to complete that process. What about students who played in middle school? Would their physicals be in the system, or do you need another copy to be turned in? So any student that was not a South Mecklenburg High School athlete last year, we do not have copies of their physical. Any middle school parent or any middle school student that played sports in middle school last year, you will need to get another copy of your physical. You don't need to get it redone as long as it was completed after that March 1st date, March 1st, 2019. But you will need to get a copy. So you may be able to contact the athletic director at that particular middle school, or you may be able to contact the doctor's office in which you had your physical taken, and they may be able to provide you an electronic copy of your physical. So if you're new to South, whether you're a new student in any grade or you're a rising, you're not a rising freshman anymore, you are a freshman, and you played in middle school sports, you will need to be able to get a hard copy of your physical, whether that was through or from your middle school or for your doctor's office, that you had your physical done, and just get a copy of it. You don't need to get it redone, like I said, as long as the date is after March 1st, 2019. So could you play basketball and soccer or football and soccer? Seems like it would be hard to do both practices. So I do agree. It is going to be hard to do both practices. Overlapping is one thing versus two sports that start in the same season. So that's, that could be a different animal there. But you do have the ability to play two sports in the same season. That is okay. That's been approved by the state for multi-sport athletes. But you will have to there will be some, a sense of, dedication and communication, going back to what I said previously, between the player, the family, and the coaches to see if that's even possible of working, because of the time and effort that's needed to be put into practice and to be in the game. Thank you, Coach, for putting that link to our website in the chat. I appreciate it. Does the store stay open all year, or do we need to order by a certain date? So the store is open all year. Throughout the year, there will be various promotions for the school store that we'll kind of have. So right now there is a grand opening, and today is the last day. It's 25% off your entire order. After today, that discount code will go away, but the store will always be open. It's a 24/7, 365-day store. You order online and it ships directly to your house. So you never have to worry about closing dates or ordering. I know our teams have team shops for their athletes, at the beginning of their season, that there is ordering deadlines, but this is truly a sideline store that helps our booster club and shows your pride and support for Sabre Nation, moving forward in our community. So that store is open all the time. So feel free to go there whenever needed, whenever you might feel like you just want a new shirt to wear, or new hoodie, or a rain jacket, or, a pair of pants or leggings or shorts, and you want to represent South Mech in the community, please go to that. The discount code, if I could have one of the Booster Club members, if you want to go to our site, that code is listed on the website, and kind of put it into the chat feature so they can see it. Or if you just go to our website, the Athletic Zone /South Mech, you will, right there, the very first thing you see is the big banner that talks about our sideline store, and the discount code is on that banner. So I think we'll have someone put it here in the chat shortly, but also if you just went to our website, it's the very first thing you see. You'll click on the banner and there's the discount code right there. Will fans be able to attend games, meets, and matches? That is something that, as of today, I do not have an answer for you. They have not given us any guidance on what that may or may not look like. Knowing that our first contest can't happen or won't happen until November 16th, there's a lot of time. I mean, that's almost 2 months, or a little over 2 months away from today. So as we get closer to our first competition date, I'm sure that the state High School Athletic Association and CMS will provide us some guidance on what a crowd could look like at our events. And as soon as we have that information, we're going to be sure to share that with all of our community stakeholders. It will come through the coaches, to the families and players. It will come from me to all of our community via social media. And that is something else I would ask Mr. Starnes. So, once we have that information, be sure to listen for, those Sunday calls that we get with updates about what's going on at South Meck, both academically, all our extracurricular activities, community events, and then athletic events in there too. So that will be included once we have some information about fans at matches. All right, there's the code, grand opening 20. Okay, grand opening 20 is the discount code to receive that discount. I'm hoping that all the people that put the discount code in the chat feature have ordered and used it. That would be awesome. Make sure you're supporting South Meck. That's really all the questions that I see in the chat. If I missed your question by chance, or if something kind of came to mind as I was reviewing these other questions, if you want to put it in the chat, I'm here. I know the Booster Club is here, and we want to answer all of your questions. We want to make sure that you can leave tonight having a little bit more information than what you started with, and a little bit of clarity on what sports are going to be able to participate and when they'll be able to participate. I do have the calendar up, so I just want to remind you that first practice date is the official practice date, and that's when the tryouts will take place for those sports. So keep in mind with the off-season things, those are truly optional, and they will not have an impact on whether you make a team or not make a team, moving forward. So that first practice date is a date that's truly important. And you need to make sure all of your paperwork is done before then, completed, turned in, checked off on, made sure it's correct, and then your valid physical is on file. So like I said, if you have any questions about that or a particular sport, please reach out to the coach directly, because they'll be able to answer your questions quicker than I can in reference to what they're doing and what their process may be, and their dates that they're going to be collecting information, or dates that they'll have their workouts and tryouts and what that all looks like. Because if you ask me, I'll probably send the email to the coach. If a coach is not responding to you, then please reach out to me and I'll follow up with you directly, and I'll get you the information that you need. So keep that in mind too. If you ever come across and you're emailing a coach, maybe it's the wrong address, something, and you're not getting the response that you need, please reach out to me at that point, and I will help you in any way I can to make sure you get the information needed. So at this time, I do not see any more questions in the chat. Does cross country start in September or November? So cross country, like I said, so here on the calendar, the first official date is November 4th. So that is when tryouts are for cross country. The first meet will be after November 16th. We don't have a schedule for cross country yet, so I don't know the exact first meet date, but it cannot happen before November 16th. Cross country they may be starting some off-season optional workouts starting on September 14th. I believe their first date is actually September 15th. So they will have some optional things in the off-season starting in September, but they do not officially start until November 4th. So that is when tryouts will officially be held for members trying to make that team. So that was the last question I have here. I do want to give Mr. Starnes is on the call, so I want to give him an opportunity to speak to you before we conclude. Maybe I have to unmute him.
Well, now I feel like our kids do during the school day whenever their teachers want to unmute them. You're just sitting there trying to talk and you can't talk. So thanks, Teacher Garcia, for unmuting me today. I appreciate that. So families and students, I just want to say huge thanks to each of you for your commitment to participate in this call this evening. We know and realize that these are definitely unprecedented times, and one of the messages that I continue to reiterate to all of our staff is that we cannot allow for COVID to continue to cloud our school year. That it is very critical that we have an opportunity for us to still have an enjoyable school year despite the pandemic, that we continue to provide those opportunities for our students and our student athletes to enjoy school and enjoy high school, as many of them have been looking forward for this opportunity, despite them being a ninth grader for a first year in high school or a senior for their senior year. And so huge thanks to Coach Garcia and his head coaches and all assistant coaches, and amazing thanks to all of our parent volunteers who have definitely presented information with you this evening. One of the things that we know and realize, and I'll be very brief, is that we shared a lot of information with you tonight. And we know that this may not be the same information that other schools may be putting out. And the reality is that many other schools may not have even shared the type of information that we have. But as you know, by way of our Sunday calls that go out and our Sunday emails, we are very committed at South Meck to be very transparent with the work that we do. And we are very committed in ensuring that our local community, our parent community, and our stakeholders are aware in real time and have all the updates as we see necessary to really ensure that they are successful and that they are able to provide a opportunity for their child to be successful. So, we just want to say it's a lot of information we provided you, but at the same time, we hope it was helpful, and we hope that some of the questions that we were able to answer clear up any misconceptions or clear up any information you may have read in a newspaper or something you saw on a Facebook group or something you heard in the local community or something you saw on someone else's page, because we want you to hear straight from the horse's mouth information as it relates to our athletic program at South Meck. And then last but not least, huge thanks again to our parent volunteers who've done an amazing job of providing you with ways in which you can support our sports boosters. We've done a really good job of rebranding our school and rebranding our athletic department, and then most recently rebranding our athletic booster to our sports boosters. But the only way that we can continue to be successful is with additional hands helping us and additional individuals joining our effort. And so we strongly encourage those on the call this evening and those who you may be connected with to not just sign up to listen in and ask us questions, but to also join the Sports Boosters and become a member. Log on to the Sideline store and purchase some of our gear and find ways to continue to support not just our individual programs, but to support our overall booster program, because we know that all of the funds that come through this particular organization are designed to support our student athletes and our coaches in the work that they plan to do. And we can only do that with your support. So let's just continue to wrap our arms around our athletic program despite the pandemic. And as I tell our staff all the time, COVID will not continue to cloud our school year. We are committed to having a very positive school year because our kids and our families deserve absolutely nothing less than the best. And that is our number one goal here at South Meck. So again, huge thanks to Jose and his team, the athletic director and our head coaches, along with our parent volunteers for your commitment to this work. So that's all I have, Jose. I told you I was going to be brief. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Starnes. And I do want to thank all of our families, all of our coaches, and I saw a few athletes on here too, as well as our parent volunteers that have kind of stepped up and taken this rebranding of our sports boosters, by the horns here, and really developed a solid product that I truly believe will be here to support all of our athletes and all of our coaches moving forward as we strive to create that transformational experience for everyone. And, it's very important, membership, support, all of those things, kind of coming to campus cleanups, stadium cleanups, any type of cleanup opportunities that we have so we can make our facilities even better and more inviting for not only our families, but we want to make sure that we're inviting to the community itself. So when we do have community members here on our campus, that they truly value the experience and enjoy their time here. Well, once again, thank you guys, everybody, for joining us tonight. Appreciate you guys taking the time here to listen. And like I said, if you ever have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me directly. If it's a sports-specific question, reach out to the coaches in our Booster Club. They always want to answer questions. So please, anytime, anything that you want to know about Booster Club, what we're doing, how you can help, reach out to them. Their information is on our website, and we'll continue to push out that information on all our social media platforms as well. So once again, I don't see one last check of the chat feature. I don't see any additional questions. So at this time, I'm going to thank you one more time for joining us, and everybody else have a great night. Thank you.